Good time of day, guys. My name is Godzi, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry, Ch.6 Tsumihoroboshi. Last episode, Chie more or less completely fell for Rena's theory about the parasites and yada yada and how the Sonozakis are evil. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna confront Mion about it, confronted Mion, learned it's kinda bullshit. And now has given up on the theory and wants to help Rena give up on it too. Meanwhile, Rena's just out here writhing, so that's fun. Let's watch her continue to writhe then. I got nothing else to say. I remembered the plate number of the white van, and I also remembered their faces. Without a doubt, this was one of the vans that have been following me. So far, I've confirmed that 3 or 4 cars have been following me. I could especially recall this white van because it followed me around the longest of all. The people who were in the other cars must be the lookouts, and the ones in this van must be tasked with direct contact, like kidnapping or assassination. The lookouts secure the surroundings, and the ones in this van attack the target. That's a common maneuver involved in both kidnapping and assassination. The scrapbooks said that too. I was gonna say, how the fuck would you know what's a common maneuver in kidnapping and assassination, Rena? I mean, sure, you've borderline done both. Well, yeah, borderline done the first, and definitely did the second, but still, well, you didn't get paid. Is it still assassination if you don't get paid? I guess it could be, right? If so, I'd better watch out because it was them, not the lookouts, who came to the school premises. I don't think they'll attack me while I'm in school. They're in the early stage of their covert operation now, hiding their fangs and claws until the last stage of their horrifying scheme. That's why they won't take action in the school, where people are watching. But it looked like they were talking with Chie-sensei in a very friendly way. I can only hear bits and pieces of their conversation, but it sounded very suspicious. I tried to remember the chatter and the movements of their mouths, and I played my memory of it like a videotape in my mind. Oh, hello? Oh, thank you for coming. It's very hot today, isn't it? It sure is. You today. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. Oh, this is the same conversation Keiichi overheard about actually filling in the blanks. Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. The and I see. Is left blank on Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. Alright, we'll I used the information I had to guess what was going on. I played the video again and again in my mind, and also paused it and played it in slow motion again to check many times. Then something unbelievably horrifying started to emerge. There's no doubt that they're acquainted with Chie-sensei, but I've never seen them visit this school before, so it's hard to believe that Chie-sensei is their contact. There's no doubt that they're the death squad under the direct control of the Sonozaki family. They have the local accent, which proves they were chosen from the Sonozaki Corps. The death squad was talking with Chie-sensei. They know each other. What's their relationship? Who's Chie-sensei anyway? Okay. During the dam conflict, Hinamizawa's school was closed and it was merged with the one in Okinomiya. But the Onigafuchi Guardians didn't accept that, and they made a part of the Forestry Service building into a school. But needless to say, the school they made didn't have a teacher, so it was only going to be a token form of resistance. But a teacher who had a strong passion for education felt sorry for the children, and she came to work there. That was Rumiko Chie-sensei. It was obviously strange. Teachers are government employees, and they normally belong to their prefectures. As long as they lie low and don't cause trouble, they don't get fired, and they don't get demoted. They can work up until the official retirement age, and they're guaranteed to get a fixed retirement fund. She was one of those government employees, but she defied the Board of Education and came to work for Hinamizawa. The villagers admire her as a teacher of passion. I heard that Oryo Sonozaki herself successfully negotiated with the Board of Education that suspended Chie-sensei for defying their orders. It was easy to get an answer from this by connecting the dots. Chie-sensei was recruited by Oryo Sonozaki as a teacher to work at the school the Onigafuchi Guardians had created. In other words, she was already working for Oreo before she came here. Okay. As for the principal, he was the principal of the school in Hinamizawa from the beginning. He's a respected person of this region, and he's been closely associated with the three families for a long time. So that means this school has been under the control of the Sonozaki family all along. I swear to fuck, if she says something like, that explains why me owns the class president, I'm gonna lose my mind, because she's literally the oldest student at the school. That's why Chie-sensei is acquainted with the death squad. It makes sense now. Chie-sensei confirmed that I came to school today, made a phone call, and called them here? I don't want to know why she called them here. If she called them just to monitor me, they'd wait near the gate until class was over. But they came onto the school premises. Why? Stop pretending to be a fool, Rena Ryugu. Do you think nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Think hard, and calm down, Rena Ryugu. What will they try to do to me today in school? In school? How are they going to do anything with my classmates and friends around me? It's easy. Chie-sensei will tell me to come to the teacher's office during the last class of the day. What about my clubmates? That's easy too. Chie-sensei can easily make them go home early using her authority as a teacher. She can make up any reason she wants. Maybe the classroom is going to have carpentry work done today, so they can't stay in school. It sure is. You today. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. See? There's no doubt. They clearly said they're ready to do it today. And what else? Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. The and I see. Is left blank on Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. I see. They gave Chie-sensei an envelope with some documents in it. That blank is an eerie phrase. Was my name supposed to be in the blank? Why is it left blank? What does that mean? I told you, Rena Ryugu. Do you still think that nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Stop that! So, what it must mean is that it's an order from higher up. It says to make Rena Ryugu become blank. Mental parkour, let's go! I took a peek from the shadows, and I saw the principal taking documents out from the envelope. He started reading them. He looked stern. He looked very serious. I wished I could take a peek at the documents, but I was too far away. I kept looking at him just to see if he'd react at all. And then, the envelope caught my eye. The envelope said Okanogi Gardeners, and it had some numbers that looked like a phone number. Fortunately, I have good eyesight. I memorized the number. If they're a death squad, the gardening company must be a camouflage occupation. It probably doesn't even exist. I wanted to find out. I looked for a phone. There's only one phone, and it's in the teacher's office. Fortunately, the teachers were chatting in the hallway, looking at the gardeners. It was now or never. I made sure nobody was watching me go into the teacher's office. I rushed in and grabbed the phone on the principal's desk. I went over the phone number in my head and dialed it up. I'm glad they have a touch-tone phone. It would have been difficult if it was a rotary dial. If somebody answered, I'd only have to ask, is this the Okanogi Gardeners? I'd wait for the answer before hanging up. It should be easy. It connected. The number you dialed is... I felt a cold chill run through my body from the bottom of my feet. Wait, don't make a quick judgment. I might have remembered the number wrong. No, I know I remembered it right. It was an easy number to remember. It's impossible to remember it wrong. Then, did I dial it wrong? I put the phone down and started over. This time I dialed the number more slowly. The teachers might be coming back at any time. In that situation, it was risky to do anything slowly. But I needed to make absolutely sure. The number you dialed is... It's the same. There's no doubt. The company Okanogi Gardeners doesn't exist. It's just a camouflage occupation for the Sonozaki family's death squad. Please make sure the number you dialed is correct. The number you dialed is... I was too stunned to put down the receiver. The announcement kept running over and over again. The voice was cold and creepy. Thing is, I think I know why this is happening. I'm gonna go into spoiler time here. I'm in spoiler time. If you don't want spoilers, mute. Forgot to say that before I clicked the button. So, yeah, it's because it isn't a real company, question mark, because it's a facade for the military stuff. Was it called the Mountain Dogs? I'm basing this shit off of what happened in Go, to be fair, because they show up in Go. And I know that they also exist in the base version of Higurashi. Like, they're the people who were, fucking... Why can't I remember? They were driving the van in Onikakushi, right? I don't know why, I don't remember why, they did what they did in Onikakushi, to be fair, but still. Because Okanogi's involved with them, I remember that. There's like 2 different factions of them too, right? Oh yeah, they're also the ones who kidnapped, the kid in Himatsubushi. So, yeah. As for why they're at the school doing gardening work, I don't fucking remember, but they're not involved with Chie or the principal or the school at large. They are involved with Irie a bit, but yeah, well, is it directly or like a business relation? That part I don't remember, but oh well. So, like, technically Rena's sphere is founded here, but not for the right reason. So, yeah, spoiler time over. Welcome back. I hung up the phone and rushed out of the teacher's office. I ran to the bathroom and held my head in an attempt to cool down. Calm down, Rena. Calm down, Rena Ryugu. Stay cool, Rena Ryugu. I wasn't safe here anymore. If I stayed here, I might be erased, even in the open. They'd erase me? Why? They aren't certain that I have the scrapbooks. I told Keiichi-kun where I hid the scrapbooks. Yesterday, I told him I hid them in my hideout in the garbage dump. Is Keiichi-kun in cahoots with the Sonozaki family? Oh my god. Don't get me wrong, this is still crazy, and I'm trying to take it seriously, but it's kind of morbidly funny to me, you know? I felt as if my head was a pot that was cooking some dubious stew. There was only soup in my brain. That line I can't take seriously, though. I cut up clues, informations, and facts just like I'd cut vegetables, and threw them into the pot. Well, to be fair, she makes a lot of cooking analogies, so I guess it's on brand. Some of them were floating on the surface, and others were on the bottom of the pot. They were being cooked in a boiling soup. No, it can't be. Keiichi-kun is on my side. He's the only one who's on my side. He held out his hand to me at the trash piles. There was no lie in that hand. When he grabbed my wrist, I felt nothing but his strong and pure heart. He promised me he'd be on my side. I shouldn't doubt Keiichi-kun. He's the only one I should trust. He's the only one who's on my side right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I was about to doubt you. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. I said it on loud on purpose, full of regret that I doubted Keiichi-kun, the only one who was on my side. Now that I think about it, whether I have the scrapbooks or not might not matter to them. Erase anyone who is suspicious. That's the safest way. Does that mean they're in a hurry? The day of Oyashiro-sama's revival might be just around the corner, and that's why they're trying to get rid of any small fish bones that are stuck in the throat by any means before it's too late. We don't need her anymore. Just erase her if you're worried so much. I could easily picture Oryo Sonozaki saying that. Have you met her? Picture? No, she did say that. That's why they're here today. What should I do? What should I do? Should I wait until school is over? I was like a fish in a pond. No matter how many times I escaped from the net, I was in the pond, and they owned the pond. I didn't stand a chance. Then what should I do now? I couldn't keep escaping from the net. I should get out of the pond. Yeah, evolve legs and stop swimming, start running on land. I didn't know how to fight them. I didn't know who's on my side. I was about to give in to despair. For now, I'd have to think about how to survive this, so I'd at least have time to think about how to fight against them. I have to get out of this pond. When I was about to leave the bathroom, one of my classmates came in. I pretended to be sick and talked to the girl while leaning on the wall.
I don't feel good. I think I better go home. Can you tell Chie-sensei I left school early?
I shouldn't let Chie-sensei know that I'm leaving school early if I'm trying to run away from them. But if I didn't, they might think I ran away without cause. That might lead them to chase after me without mercy. If that happens, I don't stand a chance. They were planning to capture me after school is over, but I happened to feel sick and left school early. If they took it that way, they wouldn't think that I'd noticed the noose tightening around me. I was about to go back to the classroom to get my bag, but I changed my mind and turned around. I didn't need my bag anymore. I realized nobody was watching me, so I stopped pretending to be sick and started running. Nope, back to Keiichi then. Chie-sensei, take a look at this.
Take a look? Is something wrong with the documents?
Yes. The date on the quote and the invoice are left blank. They're supposed to put today's date here.
Oh, they wanted to leave them blank. They said they couldn't put the same date on the quote and the invoice. They're told to leave them blank by General Affairs.
Okay then. And this, the phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Do you know which is the correct one? Oh, well, I guess that's also possible.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Hello, excuse me?
Yes, what's the matter?
The phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Which one is correct?
Oh! It's the one on the invoice. I used the old envelope we used to use at our former office. I'm sorry about that. I told our part-timer to add a stamp with the new phone number, but I guess she forgot. I apologize for the confusion. Can you just erase the number? Okay, well that explains it too, I guess. Alright, so I wasn't too close to the end of this part. I was like nearly 20 minutes away after all. Ooh, new tips unlocked. Lunch takeout list 3. Interesting. Achievement unlocked, fish in a pond. Why is it a lawnmower? When did they talk about lawnmowers? Unless it's not a lawnmower and it just looks like a lawnmower. The danger of a culture-bound syndrome lies in the fact that it can easily trigger delusional misidentification syndrome. That is to say, in the current case, every time the patient sees something trivial, she tries to interpret it as a curse. And it's believed that as a result of the accumulation of these events in an understandable form, a delusional system is created, ultimately leading to paranoia. Furthermore, the patient is also exhibiting slight signs of a personality disorder. Of course, it's at a very mild level, and it's not causing any hindrance whatsoever to the patient's daily life. You sure, sir? It's common for even healthy individuals to have primary delusions in their daily lives. But they usually ignore it automatically without recognition, since those delusions are nonsensical. However, there are cases where these delusions accumulate despite being incomprehensible. It largely depends on the particular characteristics of the individual, and it's believed that the patient shows relatively strong characteristics in this area. I believe you're very much aware that primary delusions are categorized into 3 different kinds. Delusional mood is the feeling of impending crisis without basis. Delusional intuition is the feeling of a sense of duty or goal without basis. Delusional perception is the feeling of a baseless cause against a baseless target. In the patient's case, it's believed that these incomprehensible delusions accumulated, acted out simultaneously with the culture-bound syndrome, which triggered a delusional misidentification syndrome. And it ultimately caused the incomprehensible delusions to become understandable by interpreting them as a curse. The comprehensible delusional system induces understandable secondary delusions, further strengthening the patient's delusional system with the passage of time. The delusional parasitosis mentioned earlier can be considered a secondary delusion. A common factor of all cases of paranoia is that even after an outbreak, they still appear perfectly normal with no change in their personalities. The patients are unaware of their own ailments, and due to their personal interpretations of their delusional system, There are many cases where patients arm themselves logically, making it extremely difficult for a third party to point out that they're having a delusion. Furthermore, although it may depend on the tendency of the delusions, there are also cases where a persecutory... How do you pronounce that? Persecutory delusion turns into a pursuit delusion or a conspiracy delusion, resulting in the patient creating an imaginary enemy and taking up antisocial behavior. For example, there are cases where believers of a religious cult were deeply influenced by the cult founder's paranoid visions, which shifted the group into a conspiracy delusion, and that made them conduct antisocial behavior in the name of self-defense. Although no such cases have been reported in Japan yet, it could very well happen in the near future. Fortunately, the patient hasn't reached that serious condition as of now. With proper treatment, she should be able to make a full recovery. Please make sure that her father also understands that this is not an unusual case, but something caused by the accumulation of a number of innocent factors that anyone could have. The patient can be treated only by deepening her bond with her father. As long as she has that bond, she can certainly be treated. For the reasons above, if the patient is to return to her home village, I strongly recommend that the patient continue to receive guidance from specialized medical institutions. Please excuse me for writing such a long letter. Thank you for reading this until the very end. Interesting. So, what happens next? Back to Rena. They were mowing the grass near the fence, which was probably a cover to monitor the surroundings. Just in case, I tried to escape from the school. But they must have been thinking that would happen only after school was over. They seemed to have no idea that I'd already noticed their plan and was trying to run away right at that very moment. I couldn't use the front gate since they'd find me easily. I moved behind the school building, made sure nobody was around the curry garden, ran through it, and dashed into the forest. I walked through the dense undergrowth, stepping on dead wood and climbing over fallen trees. After walking through the forest for a while, I came to a small road. I know many back roads in this village because of our club activities, and that knowledge had finally come in handy. So, what should I do now? I'm sure the girl already passed on my message to Chie-sensei. Those men must be going crazy by now, knowing that I ran away. Back to Keiichi then? Yep.
Did anyone else talk to Ryugu-san before she left school?
Everybody in the class looked at each other and shook their heads. Chie-sensei looked a bit upset that Rena left school early without telling her in person.
Rena-san has been feeling sick these days. Meep.
She left her bag here. What happened to her? I have a bad feeling about this. What? I think I know what's going on. I'm not sure, but I have a very bad feeling about this. She must have taken another ridiculous story seriously or something. I hope she won't do anything crazy. Oh, okay. We're like rapid firing between the two now. I hurried home. My father might be at his new job, or he might have gone shopping. He wasn't around when I got there. Now that they're on the move, I'm no longer safe in my house. They're very dangerous people. They're trained to be capable of attacking the Ministry of Construction, and they actually pulled off the kidnapping of the grandson of the minister. Locked doors and windows don't mean anything to them. In fact, it'd be like I was hiding in a box, which they could just open up to get at me. I can no longer stay at my home. It's very sad and very frustrating. I killed Rena and Tepe and finally regained a peaceful life with my father. How could this happen to me? I remembered what Keiichi-kun told me before. It expressed my feelings better than anything. Takano-san left us a huge parting gift! Why did she give me those terrifying scrapbooks? Why did she tell me the secret of that unthinkable conspiracy? She got me into this. I didn't do anything. It's all Mio-san's fault. But who was interested in her stories? I was. Who let her continue talking? I did. I did that out of curiosity. Who let the memories of Ibaraki return and told Mio-san about them? I did. I depended on Mio-san, hoping that she could somehow save me from the memories I'd been trying to forget. I shouldn't have remembered anything about that bizarre incident. If I hadn't, I wouldn't have gotten involved in that unthinkable conspiracy, and I could have just played around with my friends today. But even if I didn't know about the conspiracy, it'd still continue behind the scenes. I would have been one member of the mob running in a panic, not knowing what's going on the day of Oyashiro-sama's revival. I would have been just swallowed up in their conspiracy anyway. Would I be happier if I faced that day without knowing anything? Would I be happier if I struggled, knowing about it but ending up swallowed by it? If I'm going to end up the same way no matter what I choose to do, I'll fight. I'll choose to fight. Because that's how I seized my happiness before. When Rena invaded my home, seducing my father, I felt like it was the end of the world. I lived on the verge of despair every day. I thought that was the worst misfortune that could befall anyone. But the way things are going, it wasn't really that bad at all. I had only 2 enemies, Rena Mamiya and Teppei Hojo. I knew my enemies, and I knew how many they were. I lured them out one by one, and I attacked them in the dark. It was a very easy problem to solve. But what about this one? I don't know who my enemies are, and I don't know how many or how strong they are. Even the people I once trusted might be my enemies. I can't possibly be sure. It's totally different from the previous problem. This might be the end of the world. This time, it really was the worst thing that could possibly happen. But is that really the case? With Rena, I felt like it was the end of the world, but I no longer think it was that bad. So this might turn out to be an easy problem to solve in the end, and I might be able to laugh about it someday. I know that day will come. I know it for sure. So I shouldn't think that this is the end of the world. Let's fight. I can fight. I can still struggle. I'd eat grass and drink mud if I needed to. I'm going to bet on the 1% chance, even though it's unbelievably small. If Mio-san didn't leave me the scrapbooks, I wouldn't even have been able to sit at the table to bet. I was lucky that I received the scrapbooks, because they gave me the chance to choose my future. If I don't fight, they'll spread the terrible parasite, and this village will face a great disaster. According to the legend, when the demons first came out of the swamp, people became demons right after being infected. And it happened while they were inside the village. These days, symptoms appear only when infected people leave the village, but that only applies to the later, weak parasite. The original parasite can reenact the curse of Oyashiro-sama even when the infected are in the village. The legend of Oyashiro-sama will be reborn. Humans and demons will start killing each other, and Oyashiro-sama will come down to pacify the disaster. That's what they want. They want people to prostrate themselves before that miracle, and only the people who truly worship Oyashiro-sama will be saved. I see. I know their true intention now. They're going to reenact the legend of Oyashiro-sama. After all, the villagers always say that Rika-chan is his reincarnation. The stage is all set. They're going to use the parasite as the curse. So, how are they going to make it look like Oyashiro-sama came down to pacify everyone? I get it. They must have some kind of medicine, a specific cure for the parasite. When they recreated the stronger form of the parasite, they found a cure for it at the same time. They're going to use this cure and save only those people who believe in Oyashiro-sama. And as a result, this village will only have those fervent believers. They're going to make themselves the absolute rulers of Hinamizawa. Yeah, absolute control over a village of like 400 people. Wait, I still might be underestimating them. Are they going to carry out that horrifying act of bioterrorism only inside Hinamizawa? History proves that when their goal is to control others, people desire to spread their religion across a wide area. I'm sure that they conducted research not only to bring back the primitive form of the parasite, but also to overcome its weakness, namely that it only thrives in Hinamizawa. According to Mio-san's research, the parasite doesn't like its hosts to be far from the region. Its weakness is distance. If they could extend the distance, If they could extend the area where it can live. I wonder how far along their research is. By now, the parasite might be able to live not only in Hinamizawa, but in Okinomiya as well. Or maybe even in the city? Maybe the whole prefecture? It might be able to cover nearby prefectures as well. This is too serious to just call it a conspiracy. It's horrifying enough, and its scale large enough, to call it a revolution. The day of revival is probably not far off. I can tell by how they killed Mio-san and by the extent of the pressure they're putting on me. They're trying to get rid of the small fishbone stuck in their throat by any means, because that day is coming ever closer. I'm the only one who can stand up against a revolution. I can't trust anybody. I think I can trust Keiichi-kun, but no one else. Mi-chan is out of the question. I can't trust Rika-chan either. Satoko-chan and Rika-chan stick together like superglue, so I can't trust Satoko-chan either. I can't trust any adults. I can't trust anybody. No one is on my side. I have to stand up against them alone. The clock is ticking towards that day, and the ticking noise made me frustrated. How should I fight against them? What should I do? I needed time to think. I needed a place, a safe area where I could concentrate on thinking. Fortunately, I had such an area already. My hideout at the garbage dump. Nobody ever goes there, so it's safe. Even if they found out about that place, I'm familiar with its surroundings. I know escape routes and places where I can hide. But it has a big shortcoming as a hiding place. It's not hard to imagine what that is. I don't have any stock of food there. That's why I came home. I opened one of my father's drawers and took out his cash box. The contents haven't changed since the last time I looked inside. There were many new 10,000 yen bills in the cash box. I took them all. I couldn't tell how many bills there actually were, but it looked to be about 80 of them. This should be plenty. If I evaded them long enough to use all this money, that would mean that I did pretty well. Plus, I might use it to buy someone off. You can never have too much money, especially in a situation like this. I didn't take the bank book. If they were waiting an ambush at the bank, I'd be done for. It's too risky to withdraw money at the bank. I grabbed my backpack. I took the key from my bicycle. I put everything I think would be convenient to have into the backpack. I didn't care if it got heavy. I'd choose what was necessary to carry around later at my hideout. If there ended up being something I didn't need, I could leave it there. I looked at the clock. It had been 30 minutes since I came home. I stayed here too long. I rushed out of the house. I went to a small convenience store and bought as much sweetbread and canned food as I could fit in my backpack. An old lady was at the register. Probably suffering from dementia, she showed no interest in the extraordinary amount of food I was buying. But as soon as the manager of the store checked the sales that night, he'd find out. The idea didn't bother me because I can no longer walk around the village in the daylight anyway. My backpack was full, and the cans hurt my back as I walked. But that didn't bother me either. I got to my hideout, still carrying the heavy backpack. I organized the stuff I brought. It was very heavy to carry, but now I had sufficient food. The abandoned construction office still has running water, so I could get some from there. I'd wanted to get some vegetables, but in a situation like this, I could hardly complain. After I organized things, I took out the scrapbooks I had here and put my brain into top gear, flipping through the pages. So, now what? How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I needed to calm down, stay cool, but also to think fast. There might not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry, but I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go. But now, I don't know where I should go to, or what I should do. Now that I've come to this point, I should tell Ooishi-san everything. It's highly likely he's an enemy. But that doesn't matter anymore. If it was true, I'd just declare war. But if he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I'd have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in this village that stands at a place where it's hard for people to spot you. That phone booth. It stands in the middle of nowhere where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather around the light when it's dark, and it's not a pleasant place to go to. But I can't think of any other public phones I can use to contact Ooishi-san without being seen. Even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Ooishi-san has been holed up in the station since Mio-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him anytime. I have the number for the direct line to his office, too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. After I thought about what I could do, I found there was something I wanted to confirm, something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. I made my decision and left the hideout. Oh, okay, back to Keiichi. Rena's father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell. Police officer! Here, over here! A police officer from the Hinamizawa police station had shown up. Having rushed to get there, he was breathing hard. I hope you didn't wait too long. Please tell me what happened. I know I locked the door before I left, but when I came back, the door was left open and... He led the police officer into the house. And look, my cash box was left open in my room. Is this how you found it? You didn't touch anything. I didn't touch the cash box itself because I thought they might have left fingerprints. I did touch the contents a little bit to check what was missing. And what did they take? They didn't take my bank books or my personal seal, but they took the cash. They didn't take your bank books or personal seal, huh? You were lucky. Professional thieves today don't take bank books because they know how easily they can get caught by using them. This might be a professional cat burglar. Instead of taking the cash box with him, he opened it here. He has to be a pro. So, how much cash was in there? I haven't counted it for a long time, but I believe there were about 110,000 yen bills. Ah, I see. Did you tell anybody that you had that much cash in here? No, I didn't. But they probably knew I kept some cash in the house. They? Who are they? Can you tell me more about them? Well, it's kind of an embarrassing story. Her name is Rena Mamiya, and... Just then, the phone rang. Oh, excuse me, I'll just go get that. Please give me a minute. He grabbed the phone. Hello, this is the Ryugu residence. Hello. This is Mayabara. Is Rena-san there? No, she hasn't come back from school yet. She hasn't? I'm very sorry, but I'm in the middle of something right now. Can you call back later? I'm sorry. Bye. He hung up after that. Okay. Is your text even darker now? I was stunned. It didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It was hard to find this place at all because it perfectly blends in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged as if nothing had happened. That's why, at first, I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stick a shovel in the ground. I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all. Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. I know I didn't bury them deeper than this. I wasn't expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to do that to kill some time. I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing, so I came here to check if the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure that they were still there, and I'd feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. This was such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out into a cold sweat. What's going on? What's going on? I don't need to calm down to think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it, and for what purpose? Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here? And did they dig them out after we left? What if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It was before the Watanagashi festival. So if the police did find the corpses, when Ooishi contacted me, he had to know about Rena and Teppei. But he didn't tell me anything about them. I don't think he was hiding anything on purpose either. So that means the police don't know about Rena and Teppei yet. Then why are the corpses gone? That would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. The first person who comes to mind is Mion. I mean, the Sonozaki family. But I can't think of a reason why they would do that. The murder of Rena and Teppei has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. They must want to stay as far away from this case as possible. Why would they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a Joker even though you'll lose if you have the Joker by the end of the game. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was club president? The Joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier, but it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time, I realized it. They're one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a Joker, as a wild card. They're trying to use them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family is trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of the most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I can no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. They're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rena and Teppei. If the police started seeing me as a suspect, they never listened to my story. They could have been my last hope, but this will certainly turn them against me. But I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their Joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mion Sonozaki helped bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Ooishi tonight, and I'm going to ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Ooishi will believe me. This is a gamble, and my chance of winning is very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the Joker. The bags with the corpses inside. I'm impressed with Mion. That's just what I'd expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on. But to Mion, this is like a board game, taking place across Hinamizawa itself. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do, because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time, that's become the literal truth. There could be only one reason why they're trying so hard to drive me into a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed I was just a little girl with no power, running about in confusion. But my enemy must not be thinking that way. They didn't think I was a threat to them. They wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a Joker, but so do I. The Joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that it can break their plot into pieces. That's why they're so eager to find me. A cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. So, this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. I found out about the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. I felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I don't need to be here any longer. They know this place. They might come here to find me. It's not safe for me to stay here for long. I decided to go back to my hideout. Okay, I'm gonna go into spoiler time for a second because I don't know if I should say this in or out of spoiler time, so if you don't want spoilers, then mute. So the corpses are in the well, right? Mion probably was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna get my family involved with this. We're gonna do exactly what we did with Teppei's body and Tatari Garoshi. She probably didn't say that part, but got the bodies dug up and dumped into the well so that Rena has no chance of getting caught. So, yeah, because Mion's on her side. Herba derba. Welcome back, guys. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. My father was talking to a police officer. I strained to catch their conversation. Yes, she usually parks it there. My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle. Okay. Please let us know whenever your daughter comes back. We'll try to find her as well. Michan, you're good. Did you already play your Joker? Mion always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation, and wins. Seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Ooishi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. No. That's why I'm going to talk to Ooishi. He sees the Sonozaki family as his enemy, and he's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was a part of their trap from the very beginning. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side. But their Joker is actually giving me hope. If Ooishi is one of them, it'd be too early to play their Joker. Ooishi isn't one of them. That's why they got the Joker, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait. That might be a trick to make me think that way in order to make me trust Ooishi. When Mion gives me two choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. So when you think about a choice too much, you're already in her trap. I'm going to do as I planned. I'm going to call Ooishi after it gets dark. If he's going to become my ally, we can talk about the future. And if he isn't, that I realized was what I had to think about before it got dark. Dun dun dun. Alright. Ring-a-ding-ding-ding. Is it darker again? Or is that just an optical illusion because it's nighttime? No, don't worry about calling so late. I don't get paid overtime, but I'm on duty as long as I'm here. I started a conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Ooishi is one of them. If he's their pawn, he'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not, and I'd have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Ooishi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story. And I'd have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have but a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start.
I told you a little bit about this before, but I think somebody is following me.
Are you sure about that?
Yes. I wasn't sure before. I thought it was just my imagination, but things have changed over the past few days, and now I'm certain.
What do you mean, things have changed?
A few cars have been following me. One of them is a white van with 4 men in it. They disguise themselves as gardeners, but they're actually attack units.
Attack units? Do you mean the Sonozaki family's death squad?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's them. They came to my school today. I managed to escape from them in time, but it was very close.
But why would they do that? Do they think you're trying to sniff out their connection to Tomatake's murder?
Ooishi hasn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. It sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tomatake's murder. But as I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction.
To tell you the truth, I just heard some bad news. I wanted to confirm it a bit more before letting you know, but we did promise to share new information with each other, so this is what I heard. It seems like the Sonozaki Corps and Okinomiya are on the move.
Are you talking about the Sonozaki Corps?
Yes. You might find it a bit of a shock. They ordered their greenhorns to find a certain person.
A certain person? My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that.
Are they? It's hard to believe, but you're the person they're looking for. They're trying to find you. I just got this information, so I don't know the reason why, but they're mentioning your name.
So, you believe my story that my life is in danger?
Yes. It matches with my information perfectly. Ryugu-san, what's going on? Do you have any idea?
What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Ooishi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a question. What about you, Ooishi-san? Do you have any idea? I can't think of anything.
No, I'm afraid I don't. It's hard to believe that the Sonozaki Corps are using their resources to capture an individual like you. But it's true. It came from a reliable source.
It might be the Sonozaki family who are after me, not just the Sonozaki Corps.
It's very unusual for them to take action like this. They only do this when one of their people runs away with their money or something like that. It's usually about some kind of trouble within the group. They've never done things like this to an honest person like you.
Well, I'm honored to be the very first one, but I need you to do something other than tell me that they've never done this before.
I understand, Ryugu-san. Please calm down. Isn't it your turn to tell me something now?
What do you mean?
Like I said, the Sonozaki Corps don't take action like this often. They might be under some kind of misunderstanding, but still, it's very unusual that they would do something like this. Are you sure you have no idea? You could have gotten them confused about something without you knowing it. My guess is that you sniffed around the Sonozaki family and found out about a secret of theirs, or they think you did. You can't lead them to mobilize like that by doing nothing. What you did must have been obvious to them. Are you sure you have no idea?
Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out.
This is it. Make your decision, Rena Ryugu.
Maybe they're after me because I have Mio-san's scrapbooks.
Mio-san? Mio Takano? Her scrapbooks? What do you mean?
If he was my enemy, he wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. But his voice remained steady, and it didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks. Well, I met Mio-san at the library a few days before she was murdered. We talked and got along well, so she let me borrow some of her scrapbooks in which she wrote about her studies.
Scrapbooks? Her studies?
Yes. Mio-san was studying the history of Hinamizawa. She summed up her findings in those scrapbooks. I think when they killed Mio-san, they found out that some of her scrapbooks were missing, and also that she gave them to me.
They're after the scrapbooks? Ryugu-san, what in the world are you talking about?
She collected all her research about Hinamizawa and its ancient past as Onigafuchi into these scrapbooks. She wrote about the origin of Oyashiro-sama's cult in them too.
The origin of the cult of Oyashiro-sama? You mean the story about the man-eating demons?
Yes. In her research, she discovered a very important secret about Oyashiro-sama. The secret was extremely blasphemous for the people who worship him.
I see. Those people, the most devout believers, couldn't accept the result of her research.
Ooishi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he spoke. They killed Mio-san, and they're trying to get at her scrapbooks. They weren't sure that I had them, so they followed me to find out. But I think they changed their plans yesterday. They're now trying to kill anyone they think is suspicious.
I see. That doesn't sound good at all. I'm going to arrange a security detail for you. And let me take a look at the scrapbooks, too. I might be able to find some clues about her murder.
No. I mean, they might have pawns inside the police force. So don't worry about me. I can look after myself. Same with the scrapbooks. They're going to try to destroy them, even if they were kept at the police station.
You may be right. If the Sonozaki Corps is chasing after you because of an order from the head of the Sonozaki family, that means our enemy is the Sonozaki family itself. If so, I'm afraid I really can't guarantee that we don't have a traitor among us. Easy joke.
That's what I'm saying. Please don't worry about me. But I have a favor to ask you. It's very important.
Go ahead. What is it?
According to Mio-san's research, there's a horrifying conspiracy at work in the shadows of Hinamizawa, and it's about to be carried out in the near future.
A conspiracy? What's that about? I got tense all of a sudden. If I tell him everything, it's going to sound like a big lie. I should leave out the bizarre sounding parts for now. It'd actually make the story more credible.
Fanatical worshippers of Oyashiro-sama are the ones behind the conspiracy. Since the Meiji era, belief in Oyashiro-sama has slowly disappeared, so they're trying to revive the majesty of Oyashiro-sama that the people of Onigafuchi once worshipped.
Go on, I'm listening. I'm just writing this down.
According to Mio-san's research, the origin of the legend of Oyashiro-sama lies in a primitive endemic disease. People feared this endemic disease and called it the curse of Oyashiro-sama, and then someone like a doctor treated the disease, and he was then worshipped by the villagers as Oyashiro-sama himself. The village was then under his control.
Oh, I see. That's interesting. Go on.
The endemic disease was caused by a parasite unique to this region, but it became weaker with every generation, and now it doesn't do any harm to people, as you can imagine. To them, a harmless endemic disease means no curse of Oyashiro-sama. No curse means no savior. They can't keep the sanctity of Oyashiro-sama like that.
And to revive the sanctity of Oyashiro-sama means they have to revive the endemic disease, right?
That's right! They want to recreate the legend of Oyashiro-sama in order to make Oyashiro-sama a deity again. That's why they're trying to create the original parasite, because it can bring back the more powerful strain of the endemic disease. The true intention of the series of mysterious deaths was to test the results of their research, and now they finally succeeded, reenacting the maggots disease with Tomitake-san. It took them 5 years, but they managed to bring the parasite back to its original power.
What the hell?
Their goal is to spread the parasite, use the cure they developed to save only those people who believe in Oyashiro-sama, and create for them a paradise.
Are you sure it's all true?
The scrapbooks say that most of the residents of Hinamizawa are infected by the parasite. There's medical evidence of its existence too.
I can't believe it. Damn it. That hag Oria was on death's door already. Yet she can't just cross the sticks on her own. This is indiscriminate terrorism. What the hell?
The original parasite can only survive around Hinamizawa, but there's a high probability that they've improved it to be able to survive in a wider area. It's going to destroy not only Hinamizawa, but also Okinomiya, or even the entire city, or the entire prefecture.
Damn it. What should we do? Who's behind all this?
It's the 3 families. Most likely the Sonozaki family is in charge, but I'm not sure if Oreo is the leader or not. I can only refer to them as they. I also have no idea how far this thing reaches.
Do you know where they're doing all this research? I can shut it down.
I don't know. It's not in the scrapbooks either. Do you have any idea?
It must be a big facility to do that kind of research. You could use a garage for remodeling guns or something like that. But when it comes to parasites, I don't think that would be enough.
Mio-san was a nurse at the Irie clinic. Do you think that could be it? I always thought it was a bit too big and fancy for a small village like Hinamizawa.
The Irie clinic. They need a specially designed facility,
with advanced airtight containment among other considerations, to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with a clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliche. At first, I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center, but that actually sounds a little too unrealistic.
Anyway, I don't know where it is, so please find that out. Can't you just raid every suspicious place at once?
As you know, we need a warrant for that kind of thing. There's a way I can get one even after doing a raid, but... I need conclusive evidence that it was actually the research building in question in order to do that.
Ooishi is a police officer. If he's going to work as a police officer, he has to follow their rules.
But they really are planning bioterrorism! There has to be a reason why they killed Mio-san so quickly. I think the reason is because their day of revival isn't far off.
Okay, I understand. I'll try to do what I can. With an unthinkable plan like this, I'd imagine it'd be difficult to keep all the Sonozaki family members on their side. I'm sure there are some who are secretly against it. I'll try to make contact with those people. Don't worry, I'm very good at things like this.
Ooishi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police force before, but Ooishi's positive reaction is very reliable. He's what you might call an outlaw. Ooishi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. It's very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident actually does occur, it's going to be a big disaster.
Mio-san exposed such a horrifying conspiracy. I'm scared.
She met with a very sad end. She was burned in a drum in the mountains of Gifu. I feel very sorry for her. Oh, right, I forgot to tell you something. We found something odd about her death.
Something odd?
Well, at first I thought it had something to do with the case, but after hearing your conspiracy story, it's going to sound like nothing. The crime lab probably just made a mistake.
Please tell me, I want to know. We promised to tell each other everything, didn't we?
I don't mean to hide it. It's just that it might sound like a silly horror story. Ryugu-san, do you remember the night of Watanagashi? After the festival, you and 4 of your friends talked with Tomitake and Takano, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We just talked for a few minutes or so, I think.
Well, we found Takano's dead body that night, but the crime lab in Gifu Prefecture said that she'd been dead for 24 hours when she was found. But that doesn't make any sense. If that's true, she had to be dead the night before the festival.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm confused. If she was found dead on the night of Watanagashi and she had been dead for 24 hours, that means...
In short, it means she was already dead on the night of Watanagashi. So, the Takano whom you saw on that night was the zombie! I got you, didn't I? Well, like I said, I think they just made a mistake.
I felt my brain freezing over. Ooishi laughed, saying that it sounded like a horror story from summer camp. But actually, the fact that Mio-san's time of death was off, hello goosebumps, backed up her incredulous theories. I haven't mentioned this one to Ooishi or Keiichi-kun. If I did, they'd start to doubt everything else I've said. That's how absolutely unbelievable this theory is. At any rate, the mismatch with the time of Mio-san's death means a lot. The Sonozakis can time travel. What irony. Mio-san came up with the theory, and she proved it correct with her own life. No, not yet. This doesn't prove anything yet. If her theory is true, it might happen again. There's no way. It can't be true. I still can't believe it. But Ooishi just said it. He said Mio-san was already dead on the night of the festival. It means that the Mio-san who was walking arm in arm with Tomitake-san on that night wasn't Mio-san. Oh, well, that's also believable, I guess. Mio-san was already dead, so that wasn't her. That means she was... I felt a new sensation, one I never felt in my life before. It wasn't an ordinary kind of dread. It was fear of the truth. No fear is worse than the fear of accepting a truth you don't want to believe. Compared to this fear, the fear of being stalked by the Sonozaki family or being burned alive in an oil drum looks silly. That's how deep of a fear I felt. And I felt it crawling all over my body. Ryugu-san, please listen to me. I understand you don't trust the police. It's true that the Sonozaki family has a control over the entire city. There are some traitors at my station too. But you're in danger. You can trust me. I want you to trust me as an individual person. I can provide shelter for you. It's in a place nobody knows but me. Please, trust me. I don't doubt Ooishi at this point. I actually think he's very reliable. I would have said yes without a second thought, but the situation has drastically changed. If Mio-san's death backs up this unbelievable truth, I trust Ooishi. I believe he'll find the enemy and take them down. But I'd rather protect myself on my own than let someone else do it. If the unbelievable truth is real, then I couldn't trust anybody except myself. No, even myself might appear before me too.
Ooishi-san, thank you so much. Anyway, please find the research center and put a stop to their conspiracy. I'm going to hide somewhere for a while. I'll call you again.
I noticed I'd been on the phone too long. I'd been using this phone booth with a light on in the middle of the darkness. In other words, I'd been telling everybody that I'm here. Hello? Hello? She hung up. Ooishi wanted to talk more. He clicked his tongue and put the phone down. His junior, Kumagai, rushed into the room. Ooishi-san, it's getting really bad now. The one who gave the Sonozaki Corps the order to find Rena Ryugu. It's Tatsuyoshi Kasai. Kasai? The Kade Sonozaki's right-hand man? Hello. Tatsuyoshi Kasai was a pretty high-ranking big shot, even amongst the boss's younger brothers. He used to be the boss of a subordinate branch, but after suffering a bad injury during a gang war, he stepped down, and now he served as the boss's aide. Akane Sonozaki relies especially on him, and as her right-hand man, he's still feared even now. When Kasai moves, other gangs consider it as a declaration of war. They fear him very much. He's a warrior among warriors. He's been lying low these days, but he's led countless numbers of gang wars. He was also the leader of the professional attack squadron that went to the US to receive military training during the dam conflict. They were crazy enough to think of attacking the Ministry of Construction for real. It looks like it's causing quite an uproar among our informants. They're saying that Rena Ryugu must have found some kind of information that's very inconvenient for the Sonozaki Corps. I'm impressed at how to the point our informants actually are. Still, this is getting serious. Sato-san thinks it's the tape Oreo and the Ministry of Construction recorded during their secret negotiations. If that's true, it's going to cause quite a few deaths. This is more serious than that, Ooishi thought. If her story is true, this is a massive conspiracy. It's going to cause more than quite a few deaths. It might destroy the entire village, or even the entire prefecture. This is going to be the biggest terrorist strike in history. Rena Ryugu is in danger. Kuma-chan, arranged an unmarked patrol car to keep watch on her house. As of today, we're going to put Rena Ryugu under protection. She's convinced she's being threatened by the gang. I'll talk to the section manager later. Well, actually, Rena Ryugu seems to have run away from home. A police officer confirmed that a lot of money disappeared from her father's cash box. Sounds like she took it and ran away. And I also had a call about a car belonging to the Sonozaki Corps parked in front of her house, too. What? Why didn't you tell me that sooner? Rena Ryugu is in great danger. She wasn't calling me from her house then. We need to find her right away. Get me a car. Arrest the people parked in front of her house. And get some guys over here. They're coming with me. Yes, sir. Okay, hi, Shion. Alright, well, I guess we're going to end this episode here. This chapter's getting crazy. I still can't tell how close we are to the end. Because I basically remember nothing else that happens this chapter except for the actual climax. And one other scene, which could happen whenever, I guess, but
Yeah. Either way, that's gonna be it for this episode, guys. If you liked it, then be sure to press the like button, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you too. Remember to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all my videos and stuff. And as always, my name is Godzi, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye!